Hey guys, what's up? What do you see before you? It is snow. It is rather, well, it's melting a little bit now, but it is snow in Portland in April. Bit weird, bit scary. I was looking it up, and apparently it's the most snowfall there's ever been in April since they started keeping records like 83 years ago. And of course, last year, in summer, in June, is when we had those 117-degree days. Climate change is real. I know that, people's understanding of reality is dependent on what they choose to surround themselves with. Maybe not even choose so much, but, whatever they're raised to see as a source. So you watch a lot of Fox News or whatever, where it's like it's against their financial interest to not only admit that climate change is real, but also that human intervention is what caused it. That's why it exploded in the last, since the 1950s, far more than any of the years of human existence before that. So, there's still people that somehow don't understand, it's like snow falling everywhere, somehow still don't understand that having a cold day one year does not mean that there's no such thing as climate change. They should have been calling it climate change this whole time instead of global warming, because stupid people hear warming and then they think, oh, it's not, like, literally, what was it, Ron Johnson or some fucking Republican that some years ago brought a snowball into the chamber to prove that climate change wasn't real? Like, we have not, those voters, Republican voters, have not evolved past that thinking. So last night I was playing some more Planet Crafter, which is just this indie game that's sort of like Subnautica, but you're on a planet, an alien planet, instead of, you're on a desert that the whole goal is to terraform it, and but the mechanics are a lot like Subnautica. It's really fucking cold out here. I'm gonna go inside soon. But anyway, I was playing it, and it's a pretty grindy game, so I tend to have YouTube videos playing on my other monitor. And so I clicked on this debate, I guess you'd call it. It was on Vaush's channel, but it was I don't remember any of the other people. It was like 9 people, which was kind of chaotic to have 9 people debate, and like it's supposed to be sort of one at a time or whatever. It was 4 hours, so it was like 3.5 hours. I only got like an hour in, and then I was like, I need to go to bed. But one of the guys on there, like, straight from Fox News, like it was just, some random fucking dude on YouTube. It wasn't, I'm sure he could become a Fox News contributor someday, but like basically all his quote unquote arguments were just screaming like, oh, Democrats think Trump bad, Trump would have prevented, we never would have been, Ukraine wouldn't have been invaded by Russia if Trump would, like, what the fuck, crazy. But anyway, he like was going off, and it had nothing to do with the question, but he's like, Biden's Biden's insane obsession with climate change or something like that. And it was like, Biden obsessed with climate change? Like, what? Yeah, we've made the most progress towards actually admitting the existence of climate change, maybe not actually changing anything. We passed that one infrastructure bill that had a little bit of money for climate change, but I don't think it's actually been implemented yet. Of course, the BBB, Build Back Better plan, that progressive, very rightly, were like, if we pass the infrastructure, the bipartisan, like 2 Republican votes, infrastructure plan, then fucking Mansion, Cinema, all those bitches are not going to pass the BBB. And what do you know? That's exactly what happened. Anyway, but it's just like, that's how warped their view is, that they think Biden is obsessed with climate change. Like, he's like the most centrist, center, like establishment Dem, where he still operates on this magical thinking that, you know, if you just tweak the legislation just enough, the Republicans will finally vote for it. And it's just, you can't even get fucking Manchin to do it. I mean, why would Manchin ever vote for any kind of climate change provision? You know, he owns companies that literally owns coal companies in West Virginia. Like, it is opposite of his financial interest to admit and do anything about climate change and get away from, you know, oil and coal. Like, you know, and you got all these people like screaming about gas prices, and it's like, okay, so maybe stop fighting against electric cars then. How much less, you know, dependent on Russian oil, although we don't actually get that much oil from Russia. I don't remember the specific figure off the top of my head, but we get a lot more of it from other countries and from, you know, Alaska and stuff like that. So as always, it's not so much that there's not that much oil out there, it's that the oil companies are using it as an excuse to fucking slam us with higher prices. And it's so easy to just be like, oh, it's Biden's fault. It's like, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, it's just kind of disturbing. I have been nervous about getting super hot again this year. I know that some of my friends that are also in the PNW were saying that forecasts are actually that this year is going to be colder, which right now seems true. Colder and wetter. But the thing is, you know, back that super hot day in June, if you asked them at the beginning of the year, they were not going to expect a heat dome. They're not going to expect 117 degree days. So it's hard to really put much stock into weather predictions because, you know, the old models of projecting weather events are outdated. They can't really account all the way for wild, wacky weather changes. So it's just, it blows my mind that every year is wilder as far as weather goes. And of course, you know, there's many parts in the world that like are rapidly becoming unlivable. I mean, remember how 2020 started with Australia being on fire? All those poor burned kangaroos and koalas and stuff. Like the pictures of the koalas with like the burned hands because the trees were so hot, like absolutely devastating. But, you know, it blows my mind that things are that bad and getting worse, and yet you still have all these fucking people like, oh, climate change isn't real, and if it is, humans don't affect it. We always have ice ages, blah, blah, blah. Not within 50 or 70 fucking years, that much of a difference. And also, days like this are not proof that climate change isn't real. They're actually part of climate change, because, again, they should have been calling it climate change instead of global warming this whole fucking time, because stupid people don't understand the difference between climate and weather. Anyway. So, yeah, Link didn't, his school was closed today because of the snow, and because, you know, Portland is not used to having a lot of snow, so, like, anytime it's snow, they're, like, closed. Not like, you know, Pennsylvania or something where they're used to it. And then it felt kind of silly to bother putting Aiden in daycare if Link's home anyway, so I just didn't. So they're both home today. They're inside playing cars or something like that. They were outside for a little bit. It was a pain in the ass getting them all their snow gear on. It literally took like an hour. And even though we just got a new outfit for Link, and we got it like 2 years too big, it's already tight on him because my kids are gigantic. And they only stayed out for like less than an hour. So it took longer to put on their snow gear than they stayed out. But they came in soaking wet because they wouldn't stop throwing snowballs at each other and stuff like that. And I mean, it's fine, but I don't understand, like, why did the snow gear not protect them from getting wet? What is the point? Anyway, yeah, my hands are really cold. I'm going to go inside now and build your bunkers, I guess. Build your bunkers, get an electric car, and get solar paneling and stuff like that, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. And if you're in a poor country or state that, you know, denies the existence of climate change, even as you lose your cities to the rising tide, I'm sorry. You're kind of fucked. We're all fucked, but you're going to get fucked first. So we need to set some we need the GoFundMes for women stuck in Republican states who can't get an abortion. And we need GoFundMes for poor people stuck in states that that do nothing to protect against climate change. Because the government's not gonna take care of us. Not while we got fucking coal and oil barons for senators calling all the shots. So, oh, and the Republicans are definitely going to take back over in the midterms because people, we got too many left-leaning people still wasting their vote on third-party people that are never going to win. So, buckle up, Buttercup.